Well. Let's see. Hope everyone's having a fantastic Saturday. I'm doing okay-ish for the most part. Not too bad, not too good. Just about right, I think. Let's see. Pop that chat out. Just to get everything okay, set, and working, so that things aren't fucking insane. I'm getting better at this, I think. Trying to see exactly Google Hangouts is when it comes to a process. Fuck it. I can hold off on that. So let's see what's on the agenda today. What topics was I going to talk about? Oh boy, that's right. So Donald Trump just keeps fucking surprising me. So I'm a depressed kind of person. I've been depressed and I've felt depressed since 2005, late 2005. And I've tried a few possible remedies to it, like changing your diet, sleep schedule, trying to keep your mind occupied, seeing a therapist. I haven't done medication yet, but I'm normally a depressed kind of person, and I suffer from depression. And I'm pretty cynical, but when it comes to myself only. When it comes to everything about me, I'm completely cynical about everything that I do or plan to do or when something's going to happen. Outside of my personal sphere or my life, I'm incredibly optimistic. Like when Donald Trump was running for president, I thought to myself, he won't win. Like, people aren't that stupid. I have faith in humanity and America and Americans in general that he won't be elected. He won't get it. And then he got the Republican nominee or the nomination. And I'm like, well, fuck. He won't win against he won't win against Bernie or Hillary. There's just a mountain of shit that can be used against him to show how unprepared and unqualified he is. And then Trump wins the presidency. And I'm like, well, fuck. You know what? The next 4 years aren't going to be as bad as everyone keeps saying they're going to be. Like, yeah, it's going to be kind of bad. I mean, I can't deny that even as an optimist. There's going to be some shit that's going to be bad. But it's not going to be like a nuclear war. Like, nuclear war isn't going to happen in the next 4 years. Like, we're not going to go to war with another country in the next 4 years. I don't see a civil war happening. I don't see like concentration camps or FEMA death camps or like the rounding up of civilians in like marshals, like a police state forming. I can't see that shit happening. I just can't. It's just the way I am. I cannot see that shit forming or happening in under the presidency of Donald Trump. And yet, every day, my faith in humanity and my hope for humanity and Americans and America in general keeps getting tested. I'm like this little rock that keeps getting eroded by waves on like a rocky outcropping. And I keep going, oh, I'm not going to get hit by waves today. I'm not going to get hit by waves today. Today is going to be a good day. And then immediately a 30-foot wave just keeps smashing into the side of me and eroding, like the side of me. And I'm like, well, it happened today, but it won't happen tomorrow. I'm optimistic about that. And it just keeps going on and on. And I don't want to lose that. Because like I feel like you need to have hope. You need to have faith that things will work out in the end. Like I have a few friends that have been freaking out the last 2 weeks. About 2 weeks President Trump's been in office. 2 weeks he's been in office. For like the last 2 weeks, I have a few friends that have been like freaking out over Donald Trump's presidency and saying, oh, he's just dismantling everything. He's dismantling everything that Obama's done. And like when you look at what Trump has executive ordered, a lot of it's pretty light on a lot of things. Like his executive order for the Mexico City bill or Mexico City law, that flip-flops every presidency. Every presidency, a Democrat or a Republican signs to swap that over. Democrats are for it. Republicans are against it. Like I would say the biggest worries right now that Trump is doing that I can understand, like I can justifiably agree, like this is worrying, is the EPA shit, climate change denial, the funding, the Dodd-Frank Act that he's completely changing, the Johnson bill and him wanting to fucking dismantle that, the Dakota Access Pipeline, just his political attitude with Russia and Australia so far, and now the former Prime Minister of Norway. The fact that he shut off the recorder apparently while talking to Putin, which is a no-no. That's a felony. Like shit like that. Those are the big things that I'm concerned about, like the Mexico City bill, like the Mexico City law or act or bill or whatever. Like that fucking bounces back and forth all the time. And there's a few that he's done that just like those can be changed. Like there's a lot of executive orders he's laid down in the last 2 weeks that can easily be changed when another president comes into office. Like I mean, the effects will still be around for like a fair amount of time. Like, it's not just going to be like it instantly changes everything for the better. Like, only an idiot would think like they're immediately going to take effect. But like his immigration ban and shit like that is really bad because it's gonna fucking galvanize and piss off more people in the Middle East to want to side with ISIS. And it's gonna make a lot of Middle Eastern countries lose faith in us or just outright like dislike us even more or start to dislike us. And like there was I think it was a Washington State or a fucking Oregonian state judge who like the judge like made a ruling that temporarily lifted the ban on travel to the US from certain countries. And like Trump today, like the news just came out, like is lashing out at that judge for like putting the ban on hold. Fucking, there's a Republican in Hawaii that is considering changing to being a Democrat because she spoke out against Trump. And people in the Republican Party, I believe, in Hawaii want her to step down. And she's like, no, why should I step down from my position for like speaking my mind and having an opinion? And like just like it's just Trump is insane on some level. And I'm having like as time goes on, and it's only been 2 weeks since he became president. Like in 2 weeks, like my resolve and faith in humanity has been tested. Like you've got white nationalists fucking cheering on Trump. You got fucking the protests, and then they turn violent. You've got fucking just a lot of hateful fucking shit being slung around between like Democrats and Republicans, liberals and conservatives, and so on and so forth. And like, I have a few friends who are like, we need to be as vicious and brutal as the GOP were during Obama's administration. We need to fight fire with fire. And I feel like that's an insane and dangerous ideology, because if we stoop down to their level, we're no better than they are. We will be no better than they are. Like everything we fucking like just worked for and talked about is just gonna get thrown into the fucking trash. And when we get back into the office, or when we're fucking just in the future, it will be ammunition and justification for certain actions by the right against the left. And like you just can't do something like that. You can't forcibly threaten to secede. You can't fucking threaten to take up arms. Like I had one friend talking about like pulling an insane like Republican gun nut job fucking idea, which is like, oh, hoard all the guns. And so my idea is that we should just try and keep that high ground. for as long as we can. For as long as we can. Because if we keep going the way we were going beforehand and we don't stoop down to their level, what can they really say to us? What could they honestly say? Like, I've brought it up before to a few friends of mine, and I've mentioned it a lot to people just in my circle. Let's see. So my mantra in life is be transparent. Be transparent. Always be honest, as honest as possible. Unless it's gonna absolutely destroy somebody emotionally or mentally. Like say you know like their father's dead. Their father's dead. You know who did it, or you know about it before like the police come or their parents come. I wouldn't tell them, just out of I'd want to. Trust me, I would want to tell them like, hey, your father's dead. He got into a horrible car accident, or he was shot. I saw it. I thought you should know. That's some pretty heavy shit to just throw out onto your friend like that. And I think they'd rather want to hear it coming from like their family or like the police when the police arrive than just their friend bebopping around and just bringing it up while like they're hanging out. Or like if someone's cheating, like if I knew like a friend of mine was cheating on their significant other, I'd tell their significant other. Even though like I swore not to tell their significant other, I feel like they have a fucking right to know. They have a right to fucking know, because like that kind of shit like needs to come out. And you're probably sitting there listening to this and you're probably going like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like you'll tell somebody, hey, so and so is cheating on you with another person, but oh, I'm not gonna tell like my best friend their parents dead. And that's just how I see it. Like, and that's probably because of my experience with death. Like when I'm hanging out with a friend, I'm like my mind is focused on hanging out with my friend. Like I'm there to have a good time. I'm there to just enjoy myself, and then to have them be like, "Oh, hey, we've been having a really good time, like playing video games or watching this movie." I'm now going to turn to you and tell you that like somebody that you love and care deeply about is fucking dead and gone forever. Like then that would immediately fucking tank my mood, and I would just be in a haze. Because like I've gone from this happy-go-lucky mood to this horribly depressed like morning state. And I don't know. It's just I'd be more blindsided in that situation than if I were just like washing dishes or just watching TV and I got a knock at the door and the police were there, or my aunt or my father came and was like, "Oh, hey, your grandmother died," or "Oh, your cousin died in a car accident." I'd be less blindsided. because I didn't have expectations beforehand, like I would if I was spending time with family. Like if I was at a dinner with my father and we were just at a restaurant minding our own fucking business, my expectations is have dinner with father and fucking have a good time. Talk about shit that we want to talk about, catch up on shit that's happening. I'm not like I'm not expecting like a horrible bombshell like that to drop. And while I'm sitting there watching TV, I don't have any expectations. It's just I'm just doing me. That's it. Oh God. So like this this transparency and honesty, I feel like needs to be done with everybody on the left and the right. Like I'm not saying like, oh hey, all liberals and Democrats need to do this and not the Republicans. Republicans need to do this too. Just be fucking transparent and honest. That's it. That's all you have to fucking do, really. Like I've done like I've done more damage telling the truth and just being honest and transparent about certain things than if I were to lie. Like I've gotten into arguments and I've been told like, oh, just be an asshole. Just be an asshole. Fucking call them out. Call him a cunt. Call him a bitch. Call that guy a prick. Like, oh, attack him because like he was I don't know he was blind in his left eye, or he had cancer, or he wasn't able to walk for years until he got like a new leg or something like that, like personal attacks or something. I don't like doing that. I don't like personally attacking someone. I don't like I don't like insulting them just to hurt them. I'll call you a fucking idiot if you say something idiotic. I'll call you an asshole when you act like an asshole. But I do that all the time. Like that's not that it like that's not outside the norm for me. But when it comes to like personal information that I know about that person that they've confided in me, and then to just spin that around and then use it to hurt them, that's when I feel fucking sick to my stomach or disgusted. And it's not just me, it's when I see like just friends or people in general that I know about or like watch on YouTube or I hear about or I follow doing that. Like when they do something like that, I lose a vast amount of respect for them. Just instantly. Like if I was like if I had a friend and you graded my like friendship meter with them at 100, and 100 being the max, and they did that, it probably tanked to a 10. Like 90% of my respect would be out the fucking window. And it's like, why would you do that? Stoop down to the other person's level when the truth just hurts more in those situations. Like with Republicans. Republicans, white nationalists, racists, Holocaust deniers, like creationists, just theists in general, shit like that. Like, why debase your argument by like going, "Oh, you're a fucking retard," and like your kids don't love you? Like, once you start slinging out that grade of insult, like that's when I'm like, okay, whoa, hold up. Like you've lost the argument if you're going to that level. Going down to a really shitty fucking level, and that doesn't need to be done. Just take the high ground. Just take the high ground and just walk that path. If people are shit talking you and calling you a loser, or calling you a cuck or a faggot, or like any number of fucking insults that I've seen a lot of white nationalists and like right leaning fucking people have said, like Trump supporters, like just let them fucking say it. Just let them say it in one ear, out the other. In one ear, out the other is my motto for them. If they start spouting out shit like, oh, the travel ban is great for this country because like, oh, I don't hate the people outside my country. I love the people inside my country. Then you just bring up like refugees from inside our country and be like, are you against them being dropped off into your state? And if they go yes, then you go, then you're a fucking hypocrite. Because you just told me that you love the people inside your country, and if you refuse to have refugees from inside your country move into your state, then why do you love them? And if they're like, yeah, sure, then you ask them like, then why don't you want people from another country doing that? Because there's a tiny fucking percentage that one of them out of like 1,000 of them might be a terrorist. Have you not seen the kind of fucking domestic terrorism we've seen lately? Like, look at the Quebec shooter. He wasn't from one of the 7 Middle Eastern countries. He wasn't from Syria. He wasn't a Syrian refugee. He was a fucking white Canadian dude that was a Trump supporter. Shot up a mosque. Look at Dylan Roof. White Southern dude. Walked right into a fucking black congregational church. Shot him up. Wasn't a refugee. Wasn't a Muslim. Wasn't Middle Eastern. He was some white dude. Like, yeah, shit like this happens. I don't understand why, like, people are afraid of fucking Syrians. Like, just let them in. Just be transparent about it. Be honest with them. Use facts. Use statistics. Use facts. Read up on the topics. Read into what's happening with Donald Trump. Read into what the effects are going to do. Read into what could be done to lessen it. Lessen the effects of it. Call your local congressman and representatives. Look at the ballot for your fucking your state, your district, your county, so on and so forth. Like, look all that up to it. Educate yourself on the problems that are happening, these topics that are being talked about. Like, that's what you need to do. That's what needs to be done. And like, if they sit there and tell you, oh, it's alternative facts, or oh, it's fake news, then ask them, what's not fake news? What credible source do you have that's not fake news? And if they bring up like Breitbart, or they get it from Stormfront or Pull on 4chan, just tell them, okay, bye. I'm completely disengaging from somebody who apparently gets most of their information from like non-credible sources. Like, and if they sit there and go, "Oh well, how is the BBC not fake news?" It's like, "Oh, you poor fool, you." That tinfoil hat's constricting your head a little bit. The oxygen supply to your blood, like the blood going to your brain, is not helping you out right now. I can hear those gears a churning, and I feel bad for that poor hamster inside your skull. But there's nothing I can do to fix that kind of stupid. So have a nice day, and then just walk off. Don't, like, if you know the person, don't personally attack them, because then they'll just be like, "Oh, well, he's a fucking damn liberal, or he's a damn hippie, and he couldn't defeat my arguments, so he had to attack me personally to win." And that just hurts us in the long run. And I know, like, that like, I know there's a high chance that you're not gonna fucking change somebody's mind on a topic. You're just not. I learned that back in 2010, 2009, 2000, like maybe late 2008, way back when in the elder days. I learned that about Christians. Like, you can't, you're not going to fucking change them. Like, the Christian who questions their beliefs while arguing with an atheist and they become agnostic or atheist themselves, I have a feeling that's a myth. That's a mythical creature, or a once in a lifetime event that happens. Because for every one of those stories, there's like 100,000 to 1,000,000 others where that is not the case. People are set in their own ways. At a certain age in your life, you just don't fucking give a fuck anymore about, like, other people's stances on some level. I'm like that. My friends are like that. My family's like that. People I've interacted with and argued with are like that. It's like music. Like, that's an opinion based thing. Music. Like, I can show you as, like, I listen to music from classical to the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and beyond. But, like, my big staple of music is from the 60s to early 80s. And that's because my father raised me on it. And, like, my family raised me on it. Like, you can show me, like, K-pop all you want. I am not going to really like it as much as my music. Like, if you come up to me and tell me, like, "Hey, country is the best music you'll ever listen to," I'm right. You're wrong. I'm not going to, like, they could be fucking, they could be the most charismatic person in the fucking world. I'm still going to say no. No, you're wrong. I love this music. I grew up on this. I'm not going to fucking just completely change what I like, that opinion of me. Same thing with, like, atheism. The only way I would change from being, like, stop being an atheist is if God actually, like, if there was actual living fucking evidence and proof that there is a God. That's the only way that it'd stop. It's the only way it'd stop. And I know a lot of atheists on YouTube that say the same thing. And there's a lot of atheists on YouTube that I've seen and listened to over the years where I'm like, I doubt you're going to actually do that should it happen. Like, if the rapture happened. If the rapture happened Or like I've seen people go like, "Oh, if I died and I was up in the pearly fucking gates and I was proven wrong that heaven was in fact real, and God came up to me and asked me like, you have one question, my child, to ask me. Like, what do you ask of me?" And they'd be like, "Oh, why are you evil?" Or shit like that. Like, I don't think they'd fucking say something like that. I don't think they'd say something like that. I don't think it'd change their beliefs. In fact, I think it would strengthen their fucking beliefs. They would try. They would go from like, because like as an atheist, you really don't have to prove anything. You don't really have to defend anything. You're only an atheist on Easter and Christmas. That's really it. You don't celebrate Easter, you don't celebrate Christmas, and you don't celebrate religious based holidays. That's it. But like, if a living, breathing God came down and was like, "Hey guys, I'm real. Just thought you should know," I feel like there'd be a small clique of atheists that would just be immediately like, "We need to prove that he isn't God." Because they're so set in their ways that they refuse to change. So like, the same thing applies to politics. Like, Republicans are going to be Republicans until something shakes their fucking core beliefs with their own party. Like, I don't hear a lot of stories about like Democrats changing Republicans to Democrats and vice versa. If anything, I hear more about fucking like undecided voters being swayed by friends who give them good reasons or good points. And even then, like, I have a lot of friends who are undecided kind of voters. They're independents, and they'll just vote for the person. Like, they'll either not fucking vote or they'll vote for like whoever they think is who will win. That's it. Like, I have a lot of friends in my in real life and online who are like, "Oh hey, I'm a Republican or I'm a Democrat," but they don't really look into the shit that's going on. They don't follow policies. They don't follow shit like that. Like, I learned after the first term of Obama, after I voted, like, I only voted for him because I believed in what he was saying. And I was 18 when I voted. And like, after I voted for Obama and I saw all the shit that was happening and how like the Republicans kept stopping him, a lot of the things he wanted to do, I started fucking looking into politics more. And I was in this small circle or niche of YouTube where people were talking about politics. And so I started just reading up on politics. I started following the news more clearly. Reading the political fucking articles and shit like that, and looking for the sources and shit. I'll ask people, like, I'll ask them about, like, I'll ask them questions on certain policies that I don't grasp. I'll look into certain things like that. Because I'm not a political fucking major. I'm just I'm just a regular Joe Schmo off the streets. Like, I'm not this fucking genius when it comes to politics. I don't know the right answers, so I'm going to ask for people's opinions. And I know there's people like that, but that's a minority. Like, I've had family ask me, like, should I vote for Trump or Hillary? And I'll tell them, like, hey, you should probably vote for Hillary. And they'll be like, but Hillary wants to, like, have a war with Russia. And it's like, you do know, like, she'd have to get fucking approval from Congress, and Congress would just deny that, right? They flat out fucking stop her every turn. They'd be obstructionists, like they were with Obama. Like, I've had discussions with my father on fucking politics, and I know more about politics than he is, and he's 53 years old, going on 54. He told me that the next 4 years are going to be dog shit, and I told him two, might be two. And he went, "What do you mean?" And I'm like, "Uh, midterms." And he immediately looked like puzzled at me and was like, "What the fuck is midterms?" The man has seen like what? So he was born in '63. The man's lived through at least like 8 presidencies. Bush, Obama, Bush, Clinton, Bush, Reagan, Carter, Nixon, Obama, Bush, Clinton, Bush, Reagan, Carter, Ford, Nixon. Yeah, around 9 presidencies lived through. I don't count JFK because I think my father was he never actually. I don't know. Like, well, anyways, like he's been around for like 8 presidencies. He's not the most politically savvy kind of person. He doesn't really look into a whole lot of it. But like, I remember midterms from fucking elementary school. I was taught about midterms in elementary school. I was taught about the 3 branches of government: the executive, legislative, and judicial. We have a 3 branch government, and there's checks and balances. All 3 of them keep the other 2 in check. And I have friends who are my age that don't know this shit. Like, there's a lot of people on Facebook that I've seen, both on my online Facebook and on my real Facebook, where people are just spouting off crazy beliefs, and they don't really know what the fuck they're talking about, or they don't know the full scope of what they're talking about, and it's just sad. Like, they need, like, people really need to fucking educate themselves on what they're talking about. And there's a few people that educate themselves, but in the wrong way. They see it on one side, whatever side they agree with. Like, I have Democratic friends who will just read like liberal news. If it puts the fucking Republicans in a really bad light, then they're like, aha, see, that's the truth. But then there's like some Republicans who aren't fucking crazy GOP people. Like, not everything the Republicans is talking about is bad. Same thing with the Democrats. Like, I've had friends who are like staunch Bernie supporters, and they voted for Trump because they thought Hillary would be worse than Trump, and now they're just entrenched in their belief that like Hillary would have been worse. And it's like, nah, not really. Hey, Jen. But like, just like, people need to fucking be more transparent and honest about their beliefs, and they need to be more fucking learned in what they're talking about. Like, just don't stoop down to a fucking like disgusting level of insulting somebody, like personally attacking them to try and win an argument. That just sickens me to see people do that. Uh, God. Give me a second. My back is hurting. Fucking rambling and rambling. But yeah, uh, like I have hope that the next 4 years won't be as shitty. I have a feeling that just look at just. I have a friend who has very little faith in the country, like very little faith, and he sees the glass as half empty all the time. And I keep trying to tell him like it's not as bad as it could get. And he's like, "What do you mean? Like Trump's done this travel ban. Trump's doing this. Trump's throwing out executive orders. He wants Obamacare to be fucking removed." And it's like, yeah, they're bad, but it's not an instant thing. Like the judge in fucking Washington or Oregon uplifted the ban through using the law. Like if more people stand up to Trump like that, like and obstruct him from doing what he's doing, it'll make it less severe. It'll lessen the damage that he's doing. Like Obamacare. Yeah, like we're gonna lose Obamacare. Like it wasn't what was supposed to be, like what was supposed to come out because the Republicans obstructed it. Like the Republicans need to come up with a fucking healthcare plan that will replace Obamacare. People who are against Obamacare will realize in a year's time or two years time, like, oh fuck, like this isn't it. Like this Republican healthcare plan is not as good as Obamacare. Like I'm not covered for a lot of things anymore, and they might blame Obama. Like he's brought it up, like, oh, they're just all gonna dump like all the shit that Trump's doing on Obama and saying that Obama's administration caused the effects. And it's like, yeah, there'll be shit like that, but they're idiots. Like people who voted for Obama were pissing and moaning that there wasn't enough change. Obama didn't change everything. And it's like, well, the reason why, if you actually read the news or watched what was going on politically, like Republicans were obstructing him every fucking chance they got. Every chance they got, they tried to they threw a wrench in his fucking plans. Every single fucking time. Like the man was trying to do shit. He was being stopped, though. Like, that's the thing. You can't blame the man. It's like he's not a dictator. He's not. He can't just be like Obamacare. I'm putting Obamacare in, and I'm going to enact it, and like this is what it's going to do, and it's going to happen like overnight. It's a massive project. It's a process that takes a long fucking time. Well, that's the thing, Jen. I think it was like a week ago. They showed a plan, like a Republican healthcare plan replacement, and the internet and the majority of people against Trump laughed. And also against Republicans laughed because, like, I laughed because they showed it and there was like a lot of blank pages. So like they don't even have a real like replacement plan completely filled out yet, and it's going to take a long time to do that. Like, look how long it took Obamacare to get into what it was like to just to come out. Like, took quite a few years, if I remember correctly, just to get Obamacare like worked out and all the fucking kinks out so that the Republicans would actually vote, yeah, sure. And like it took it took a fair amount of time for it to fucking take effect. And so like it's gonna take quite a long time. I'm not sure if it's gonna take as long as it did for Obamacare. Could take a year and a half, 2 years for them to fucking work out the kinks. But like by that time, like Trump's presidency will be like a quarter to half done. And so like by the time the new president comes into office, I really think Trump's going to be a one term kind of president. Like if the Democrats get their heads out of their asses and vote, and the young voters go out and actually vote for the right fucking person, I'm repealing this Republican healthcare plan and I'm going to reinstate Obamacare, or I'm going to make a new Obama. Same thing with like the executive orders, like the travel ban that Trump put in. And don't get me wrong, like, but if he just put like the next president can just be like, no more travel bans. Like all the travel bans and visa shit like that Trump was doing in his 4 years, that's gone. Executive order. Like, my friend thinks that there's going to be a war. He's looking for negativity to confirm his beliefs that like America is just this shithole. Hey Sammy, what's up? Not much. Just rambling about politics right now because that was on my list of topics that I wanted to ramble on about. But like one of my friends just keeps believing that like the worst is like yet to come. He wants to be confirmed that like the like awful shit is going to happen consistently. And it's like, no, like China is not going to launch nukes. Russia is not going to launch nukes. We're not going to launch nukes on people. Like there's like Trump is one man. Like there's what, 255? I think it's 255 or 257 like members of the Senate. There's like what, 250, 300 people in the House of Representatives, and then you have like the Supreme Court and the other courts. And you have people in like the executive branch who oppose Trump, and you have people in the CIA and the FBI and the Pentagon that oppose Trump. Like you have, all right, 255 in the House. Like we've got 50 states. Not every state. Like I know there's a lot of red on that election map. Sure. Doesn't mean that everybody in that fucking that fucking state agrees with Trump. Like Trump came into office with a 40% approval rating, the lowest approval rating for a president-elect coming into office in history. Like there's been polls being done for the last 2 weeks where like it's not a massive majority, but there's a fair amount of people who are like, yeah, we do not like Trump. kind of wish it did fall into fucking his court. I don't know, like that alone should make my friend hopeful and be like, oh, well, there's a lot of people that do that. And I mean, like, yeah, like Trump is in office. People voted for Trump. He won the election. But like, still though, like if it's only been 2 weeks and like there's like he has only an approval rating of 40%, like it could steadily decline further. Like there are massive, like for the last 2 weeks there have been nothing but nonstop peaceful protests against Trump. And yeah, there's been a lot of fucking assholes that have fucking hijacked those protests and started fucking doing violent shit in them. But like the Women's March across the country, I forget what the numbers were, but it was in the millions if I remember correctly. People marched in DC to have Trump fucking release his tax records. Scientists are going to be marching on Washington so that he doesn't deny climate change and like all their research they've been doing for like the last 8 years. Like there's a lot of fucking people out there that are willing to protest and oppose Trump. That alone should make you feel hopeful. Like, yeah, like if there's this many people who are willing to do this, then that should mean like in the next 2 years they'll vote, like the Democrats may have a fighting chance to win back the Senate, like to win a majority in the Senate and the House of Representatives. Like that alone should give you hope. And like it's 2 years from now. A lot of horrible shit could happen in 2 years. I'm well aware of that. He's going to be in office for 4 years. That just doubles the awful shit that can happen. But it's going to change people's minds. People, like, more and more people will fucking hate him if he does stupid, horrible shit. I have a feeling like Trump is going to. I'm hopeful that Trump mellows out while he's in office. That's one of my, like, that's the thing that I'm hoping happens. Like, yeah. Looking at the effects of it and seeing how the fucking people of this country fucking despise my guts, maybe I shouldn't be this fucking radical. Maybe I should listen to fucking advisors before I open my mouth.